Little Witch Academia is an anime where the main character is bad at magic. However, in this game, she's able to use it, and I don't quite buy the explanation given. So, I wanted to find out if you can beat Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time without using magic. The rules are simple: don't use magic and beat the Ghost Witch. Unfortunately, this game doesn't really keep track of the number of times you use magic, so I'll have to use my own jurisdiction, and hopefully you'll agree. So without further ado, let's get into it. While the text-filled opening starts, I set the game to hard difficulty. If we have to switch off of it, I will, but consider this a secondary challenge. Almost immediately, we run into the first problem, the overworld magic tutorial. We can't ignore it, and we can't run further down the hall or into a different room. A trap like this is exactly when we have to turn to the speedrun Discord with their almost arcane knowledge of the game. Oh wait, there isn't one. If there was a link to it, it would look like this. It seems hopeless now, but I have some speedrunning knowledge of my own, so I know there's an anime speedrunning Discord housing dozens or hundreds of games. So I went into the Little Witch Academia thread, only to find the letter A and a link to a random game. Checking elsewhere for glitches on this game only leads to the game not booting and game crashes. I tried ramming Akko's head into every crevice to maybe find some kind of out of bounds clip, but to no avail. So, can you beat Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time without magic? No! Damn tutorial, you ruined my challenge run! But, like any other challenge runner worth their salt, I will continue and find the minimum amount instead. So after fixing this stupid bucket, we discover the titular Chamber of Time and play until we get into our first battle sequence. The weak, normal, and strong attacks all yield magic-looking projectiles, so it seems like the only things we can do are run, jump, and air dash. However, Akko does have one usable attack, a slide kick. It does produce blue sparkles, but the anime makes it clear that special equipment like wands is specifically required for magic. The game also has many special effects like copious amounts of sparkles on items, money, and food, as well as obscene amounts of dust and rubble created when running and jumping. Considering this, I think it's safe to call this slide kick a move that doesn't use magic. If you don't like that, you can do your own challenge run. Thankfully, we have CPU companions to help us defeat enemies. Unfortunately, they are dumb, and sometimes extremely dumb. Somehow, we will have to convince them to do almost everything for us going forward, so let's hope they cooperate. The tutorial dungeon is straightforward, and we aren't forced to do anything special in it. Interestingly, you can't even die here. After that, time loops, which means we have to fix the bucket again. Time loops once more, but thankfully, Akko will run past Ursula, so we don't have to do it a third time. The next thing in the story is to use magic to activate a crystal ball, so we have to use magic a third time. I'm almost thankful though, because the only way to activate these save points is to use magic, and the only way to use them as warp points is to use magic. This means we only have a single save point and have to run everywhere we go. After that, we have to do a real mission in the dungeon, and we can use every character now. Akko's ability for more ally XP and her having a non-magic attack makes her the best choice. I chose Amanda and Jasminka as my allies due to Amanda's ability being double money and XP, while Jasminka also has a non-magic attack with her butt. Despite the particle effect, her wand isn't out at all, so I'll use it if I have to. They also have the highest base max HP, so hopefully they will not die from our lack of help. We can always switch this team later if we change our minds, especially since Akko doesn't have to be in the team at all. After that, we have to go through the first major dungeon, the Canopus Ruins. Some more battle mechanics to note are how chests only require the jump button to open, and how it's simple to use the slide kick, so accidentally breaking the rules doesn't happen. The CPU simply standing around while they get smashed by spikes is just one example of their clumsiness. This area poses no challenge since we're still in the hand-holdy tutorial mode. Learning new magic spells is actually still useful because we can give it to our allies, and since we're not the ones using magic, it's fair game. Moving on in the main story, the game gives us a branching path, and I started investigating the magic keys. This led me into needing to sneak into the Botanical Garden, which requires sleep magic. I honestly wish we could take up Susie's offer and let her kill this guy. Now, I didn't lose hope because there was this one spot right by the garden that makes Akko jitter in place, the prime suspect of a way to get out of bounds. However, I couldn't get it to work, and I couldn't abuse the hour transitions to clip through when the goblin leaves and the garden is inaccessible, because the game boots you back to the Horologium chamber after every time loop. So unfortunately, we have to use magic once more. Then we have to do it again to get inside after we learn levitation magic, and then use that, bringing us to 6 magic uses before we even get to the second dungeon, Regulus Mines. In the mines, we need to attack manually to make this minecart turn, go straight, and turn to get to the boss. To actually damage the boss, we need to use magic to interact with this gimmick of hitting a falling object back, and both Akko and Jasminka use their wands, so it seems like we will have to use magic at least once here. However, to actually only have to use it once, we will have to grind to kill the slime in only a single cycle. The best place to do this is the Underground Labyrinth, a 999 floor long dungeon that drops good equipment and XP. I did it offline, so I had to make my way through without any help. I grinded up until floor 30 until it locked me out for being underleveled, grinding all the way up to level 27. I was now strong enough to beat the level 3 lesser dungeons. For reference, you get level 7 keys after beating the game, so I was pretty overleveled. Another interesting thing is that the combo counter caps at 99, which isn't that hard to reach. The lesser key didn't give much XP, so I went back to the slime to beat it for good. Akko's damage was underperforming, so I switched to Jasminka to have a better chance of winning. While I was waiting for it to give an opening though, I noticed that it got poisoned! I unknowingly equipped an accessory that could inflict poison to enemies that hit me, which apparently also applies to bosses. So after a long time of getting hit over and over and over and slowly burning and poisoning the boss until it died, and I lucked into beating the boss without using any magic at all, is what I would say if this didn't happen. How are you not dead? You have 0 health, and then you got burned, so you totally have 0 health now. Like, what the fuck? It turns out that the boss will simply refuse to die and stay at 1 HP, even if it takes more than enough damage to kill it. You have to interact with the gimmick and knock it down so it stops being immortal and dies. So in the end, you still have to use magic to beat the damn slime. You are such a goddamn asshole. I beat you, fair and square. No magic, you just say fuck you. No? I didn't do it. This game fucking sucks. Why would you make that the requirement? It doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't the boss just die when it has 0 HP? There's only a short trek of story before we grab the next dungeon key and go to the Shala Desert. It goes smoothly until we come across this tree. You're supposed to use a water-type magic attack to heal it. It specifically has to be an attack. Laying down a water-type magic healing circle doesn't work. However, we only have a single water attack, and our AR companions are too stupid to solve the puzzle for us. The only way to progress is to make them accidentally heal the tree by using the ice javelin to attack these enemies and coincidentally have the tree in the way. My current allies are too strong and kill the enemies too quickly to use the ice javelin multiple times and heal the tree. So at first, I tried unequipping the accessories, but they were still too strong, so I switched over to my allies who had no experience. And now, it was time to try over and over until the stars aligned. Just get up here and fucking use Ice Arrow! You always pick the most bullshit thing to do. Oh, come on. This is so perfect. Just use Ice Arrow! She is so fucking stupid! Like, what are you even doing? Never use it. Never use it! Don't use the Ice Arrow! You're starting to look desperate. Until... Oh my god! She fucking did it! She fucking did it! Oh my god! She fucking did it! Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, baby. No magic. No magic. After that, they tried to bait me into going into the fake boss store by putting this enemy in the way, and my allies not doing anything to kill it. But with some careful spacing, I was able to get to the boss and beat it without using any magic, finally claiming a well-deserved victory. Yes, we did it! We finally fucking did it! The only notable thing we have to do to get to the next dungeon is use magic once again to stop this skeleton. Skipping the overworld magic seems impossible since they lead to specific cutscenes that advance the story, which is a big letdown. We can now go to the Gina Tantra and its dragon boss. This boss sucks because it sits in the background for eons and is only able to be attacked by us when it drops its head for a few seconds. You're supposed to use a gimmick magic spot to create a wall of ice and stun the boss when it tries to fly off. But with some helpful allies, we brought its HP down. It looked dire for a second when we brought its HP to seemingly 0 by using poison damage. But giving it one more swift kick to the face made it go down for good, completing the area with no major issues. Now back at the investigation route split, I decided to look into the Horologium chamber. We once again have to use magic in the overworld to get a key item and unlock the Mimosa Forest. This is a simple dungeon where you follow the stars in the sky and beat the boss with no issues. Hooray for easy dungeons! Sometimes between major dungeons, there are main quests where you have to beat any dungeon using a specific character. These aren't hard, but it sure is boring going through level 1 lesser dungeons to pad out the game length. The next dungeon requires us to use magic to talk to this UFO spirit and obtain the key to Mount Anka. There's a lot of running around for other main objectives until we actually go there, but there's no more magic after that, and the area itself is a linear battle. There are rocks in the way that have lots of health, but we can simply kick them down. Us and our allies are strong enough to get through it and beat the dungeon without much trouble. And the story route is already complete! The simplicity of this route, however, is merely the calm before the storm. On the last of the 3 route choices, we investigate the sealed door. To progress the story, we have to use transformation magic. But that is nothing when it comes to the dungeon, Labyrinth of Pollux. This dungeon has levers in it. Unfortunately, everyone is weak as fuck and has to use magic to move the levers. There are 8 of them, and we are supposed to switch them all to progress. Every character uses their wand in this animation. The doors are unclippable. You can't catch the load zones through the door either, not with any character. It seems hopeless once again. Is there any way to not add 8 magic uses to our total? Do I have a way to overcome this predicament? The answer is no. This game is surprisingly well built and is good at not letting you clip through stuff. Or maybe there is, but it's not a one-man job. Like with any of their other magic uses, I would love if someone could send me a skip, but for now, we have to live with all of the lever switches. After that sad display, we make it to the boss, who starts hiding in the background very quickly after starting the fight. So we have to go back and grind until we can beat it immediately. Except, this is one of those times where you win the battle but lose in the cutscene. So we have to get some key items and do Pollux again. So after defeating the time demon for real, we restored time. Not really. Quite the opposite in fact, but I'll get to that in a bit. We just finished every split path and are now on the final one. For doing this, we get very hard mode, which I'll put on now just for the challenge. After running a few laps around the school, we need to collect a bunch of Akko's cards. 7 of these cards are located at the end of every dungeon. This does mean we have to trudge through Pollux again! This stupid dungeon forces us to use magic 24 times. That's over 66% of the times we have to use it. So if any glitch hunters want to break this game, they should try to break Pollux, as every magic used there would be applied 3-fold. I also tried again to beat the slime with just counter poison and burn to no avail. So that's one more for a total of 36 magic uses. The last notable thing about this playtime pattern is that the tree in Shala Desert is much easier to heal since we have more, bigger, and better water attacks. But with that out of the way, We are finally at the final boss, the Ghost Witch. The last boss is actually quite the obstacle, since when she's down to 1/3 of her health, we are supposed to use a corresponding elemental attack to break these crystals and or use a type of magic that she doesn't have crystals out for. So the fight is impossible, right? Well, not so fast. If our allies can use their most powerful spells with perfect timing, they can instantly deplete the last over 1/3 of the boss's health and kill her before she goes into that phase. This is a problem, since our allies are super dumb in this fight. This is the first time the CPUs have been both stupid and required to do stuff for us. Regardless, it's the only way, so I grinded to level 99 and got to work. Yes! You finally did it! Oh my god! And just like that, we beat the Ghost Witch, the time loop is broken, and the credits roll. So, can you beat Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time without magic? No. You need to use it at least 36 times. Twice to repair Ursula's bucket in the tutorial, once to activate the save point for the tutorial, twice to wake this guard, once to levitate over the hands, twice to kill the Regulus Mines boss, once to stop the skeleton, once to trade for this mushroom, once to talk to the UFO, once to transform for the storage key, and a whopping 24 times to flip the switches in Pollocks. But maybe someone could lower it and one-up me with some newly discovered glitches. But anyway, since you watched until the end, consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. If you have any good challenge run or other video ideas you want me to do, be sure to tell me. I would love to hear it. Anyway, have a good one.